What's happening, Cresco traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, August 17th. Hope you're doing awesome out there today. And in this short video, going to be discussing the stock Cresco Labs, ticker symbol CL on the Canadian Stock Exchange. They reported their earnings today. They did miss in terms of analyst estimates. It was their earnings for Q2 2022. They reported pre-market this morning. And like I said, they did miss those estimates. Stock was down, but holding up relatively well. And we've seen quite a big bounce over the last few weeks, and I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions. We'll review their earnings, also give an update on CL.CA, and then at the end I'll do some technical analysis, give my thoughts and opinions on the days and weeks ahead, and talk about whether or not I think this stock is a buy. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like, help support me, and the channel doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos that I post or when I go live. Taking a look here, Cresco Labs increases Q2 revenue 2% sequentially to $218.2 million. What have I been saying for a while now is that we're starting to see MSOs, the American operators, starting to slow down a little bit in terms of sequential quarter-over-quarter growth. Only 2% year to date or year over year, still fine, but we are starting to see that, which is notable. And came in at $218.2 million, like I said. And then revenue forecast was $218.52 million. So a slight miss there. The EPS was forecasted at negative 0.0044, came in at negative 0.02. So again, a slight miss there. Nothing too earth-shattering, and didn't really move the stock a whole lot. The broader market was a bit of a mixed bag today, but we did have some green across the sector. We had MedMen up 43%, I think, from the low of the day today. So we're starting to see volatility back in the sector. I did a video as well. Volatility is back in MJ. You can check that out. But essentially, I don't expect it to be going away anytime soon. I think it's going to continue that trend, and we're going to see some very, very few bullish months ahead, I think, for MJ. And we'll talk about whether or not I think this stock is a buy here leading into the fall. And the midterms, which we know that safe banking could pass as well, which would be massive, massive for the space. Cresco Labs announces second quarter 2022 results. Company reports 4% year-over-year growth. Year-over-year, 4% year-over-year, and 11% year-over-year adjusted EBITDA growth. Yeah, so slowing there as well, but obviously going to be acquiring CL.CA, so that's going to help their revenues. Not organic growth, but through mergers and acquisitions, but growth nonetheless. Continues industry leadership with branded product performance and retail productivity. Again, I'm super bullish. I own this stock. I'm super bullish on it for the long term. Company provides positive update on CL.CA and gives a regulatory approvals and the timeline, which we'll look at here in a moment. We'll go through. It's all according to GAAP principles. Yep. The regular mumbo jumbo. Second quarter revenue. Already went over that. Adjusted gross profit, $116 million, or 53% of revenue, and an increase of 8% year over year, excluding fair value markup for acquired inventory and cost of goods sold, adjustments for acquisitions and other non-core costs. Second quarter adjusted EBITDA, $51 million, or 23% of revenue, an increase of 11% year over year. Wholesale revenue of $95 million, which maintained the company's position as number one in U.S. seller of branded MJ products with leading share positions in flower, concentrate, and vape categories. Achieved a leading brand share position in Massachusetts and maintained number one share position in both Illinois and Pennsylvania. Retail revenue increased 22% year over year to $123 million, or $2.5 million per average store open in the quarter. Same store sales increased 6% year over year. Ended the quarter with $90 million on cash on hand, and on July 8th, the CL.CA shareholders approved the previously announced all-stock acquisition by Cresco Labs, so obviously going to be diluting, and the company continues to work toward closing the transaction around the end of the year, so we can expect that at some point here between now and the end of 2022. And Charles, the CEO, co-founder, said, "We reported solid results in the face of an unprecedented macro environment. We generated $218 million in revenue, representing 4% year-over-year growth, and maintained our industry position as the number one wholesaler of branded MJ, the number one branded product portfolio chosen by consumers, and the number one most productive per-store national retailer." So full disclosure, I do own Cresco. It's my second biggest holding. Curaleaf's my biggest holding in terms of individual stocks in the U.S., but my biggest holding is MSOS, the ETF, in terms of dollar value. Taking a look at Cresco, though, we are up about 55% from the lows here on June 30th, and that was the lows here at $3.11. That looks like it is the 52-week low. We didn't actually drop down to a lower low. We had the all-time low there Taking a look at the chart on the CSCE, Canadian Stock Exchange, we had 281. We got as low as 311. So nice bottom fish opportunity there. We've been in a brutal 18-month bear market, and we haven't been spared even in the U.S. So nobody, even companies with great fundamentals, still seeing 80 to 90% pullbacks. And if we take a look at Cresco, from its high, we were down 85%, pushing 90%, right? So eventually the scales are going to tip. And personally, I like to buy when things are oversold, and I buy when there's blood in the streets. That's when I load up for the long term. That's when the real wealth is made, right? You can get rich in a bull market, but this is where champions are made, right? So we're going to see life-changing gains, in my opinion. And taking a look at the chart here on the monthly time frame. Actually, before we get into that, the weekly time frame, we're looking at the weekly time frame for a potential weekly trend change, and we are hitting an EMA 12. We can see here that ever since we lost it, we had the bear cross. We confirmed the weekly downtrend with a lower high and lower low. We had the bear cross of the shorter term moving average crossing down through the longer term, and this is exponential, the 12 and 26 period, so that's even more bearish. And if you would have just exited there when we confirmed weekly downtrends and we had that bear cross, that would have saved you 70% of downside. But taking a look at it now, we did hit weekly oversold, and then on the monthly time frame, we're dangerously close there to monthly oversold. So again, I've been telling people, if you don't know anything about technical analysis or when it's a good time to buy or sell a stock, just drop this RSI indicator in there. And generally, when we're in this range here, it's a good time to be selling. And because we're overbought, right, you do the opposite. And then when we're oversold, this is a good time to be buying. So look where we hit. We were heavily oversold. Anything under 30 is considered oversold. We were at 23. Anything above 70, at 70 and above, is considered overbought. So again, if you just bought here when we were extremely oversold, you'd be up from that low about 55%. Congrats to the bulls. But we still have some work to do. We can't call a bottom yet. We still are not out of the woods. We still need to form a weekly higher low and a higher high, get back into a weekly uptrend. Then we zoom out to the monthly. And what you could say here is, once we start this monthly bounce, we have resistance for the previous month at 484. We hit 481, so it's essentially a double top at the moment. But once we bounce just means we're breaking the high of the previous candle. Then we're going to start the monthly bounce the first time since February, and then before that it was November. So we've only bounced twice since the highs of February 2021. So in 16 months, we've only bounced twice on the monthly time frame, and it was pretty lackluster. So just imagine, you could even set a stop buy. So if the price reaches, say, maybe even 501, you could do 502. You could allow a little bit of a wiggle room, and in case they go on a bull trap. But what you could do is you could set a stop buy. So if the price gets at or above 501, it's going to buy, right? Your buy order is going to trigger. And even just to go back to EMA 12, that's about a 43% of upside. EMA 26 is about 80%. So a lot of names starting their monthly bounce, and I think that there could be a big move incoming for Cresco. And I'm actually going to be looking at adding more to my portfolio as well. We are confirming the 10-week moving average as support, and look at how parabolic we're getting on the stochastic and the MACD as well. If we take a look at the weekly time frame moving average, we have nothing nearby until the 50 weekly until 7:55. On the daily, we're getting above the 50-day moving average. We had the 100 there at 510. And then the 200-day moving average at 705. I would not be surprised in the least if we get back up to $7 here in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. But I think this stock is extremely undervalued, and I'm a big advocate for this stock long term. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me, disagree with me. I always love hearing from you and encourage thoughtful discourse. Even if we don't agree, we can still be friends. But going to end it there, thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group. If you could smash the like on the way out, I'd appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.